developed in stages for college use. Principal Martin Ward says phasing the works is an easier transition for students.
To make the two campuses work, you have to do the preparations for the IT connectivity, because communication is so important these days, and that's how a lot of the students learn. So we've really been working on that since about May. In order to turn a whole building and do the whole project in one summer would have been too much.
The new chairman of the Football Association, Greg Dyke, says the England team should be aiming to win the World Cup in 2022. In a speech in London, he warned that the national side may not be able to compete seriously on the world stage without the domestic game changing its approach. The FA's former executive director, David Davis, agrees. And Oswestry, a series of guided walks have been planned in and around Oswestry later this month. The organisers of the Oswestry Walking Festival have put together 9 walks of varying lengths and difficulties. Tonight's weather staying fine and dry with light winds and clear spells and a low of 10 degrees. Tomorrow will start off with sunny spell, the clouds will thicken with possibility of rain. BBC Radio Shropshire News and Sport. It's 4 minutes past 7.
Mark Forrest.
BBC Radio Shropshire. Well, they do say that some of us, if we're very lucky, the sun shines and get a following wind, may have the warmest September days for 7 years. I'll take that. How about you? Hello, welcome. Best bits of BBC Local Radio are all here. Now, if you call someone a geek, you probably think you've insulted them. After all, saying someone's boring and unfashionable can hardly be a compliment. But tonight, I want to help anyone with a passion for something, with an all-consuming hobby, to reclaim that word geek and see it as an accolade.
We're all very happy about web design.
I'm very pleased.
I just have great visions of people over the doorways. Is the Geek Club? That has happened.
More of that to come, so wear your geekdom with pride and finish this sentence for me. I'm a geek because... ... Numbers in just a moment. The Lake District. Gorgeous, isn't it? Majestic mountains, inspiring vistas, one of our finest national parks. Well, that may be the received wisdom, but it's not a view shared by everyone. Hear why the lakes should not become a World Heritage Site, and feel free to add your suggestion to this list. What do you hate that you're supposed to love? Also tonight's a Cliff, an album number 100. You've ever been in the queue to sample the 72-year-old's latest offering? What to do with a chicken that's eaten your diamond earring? And some very clever swallows hitching a lift back to Africa. Get in touch on the phone on 0345 300 1858 by text starting Mark to 81333 or email mark@bbc.co.uk.
Weekdays 7 to 10. Mark Forrest.
BBC Radio Shropshire.
Succeed at last. Constitution, you won't feel. We don't know how to get your shield. You got your mind set on a dream. You can get it, don't want to mess it down. You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. You can get
Desmond Decker, and you can get it if you really want. You see, I've never really liked the word geek. If you look it up, it does say somebody, usually a man, pretty boring, probably unfashionable. It's not great, is it? I'd like to reclaim it ever so slightly. You'll understand why in just a moment. But if you do have something about which you are very passionate, from a football team to, I don't know, the trains that go through your local station, to bird watching, to wildflowers, to dahlias. I quite like dahlias. I planted a few in my time. Would you really want to be called a geek? Well, you would if you could reclaim the word and think of it as positive, as empowering, as an accolade, which is what I hope I'll have done by 10 o'clock tonight. So if you share these sentiments, drop me a text saying who you are, where you are, and I'm a geek because ... and explain. 81333, start your message, Mark. I should say, I don't say very often, but you know all these contact details that I give you, well, clearly emails are free, mark@bbc.co.uk. I had to ring some charity shops today. I've been trying to get rid of some stuff. And the charity shops I was ringing had premium rate numbers, and I spoke to the woman and said, well, can't you give me a proper number? And she said, no, it's dreadful. She said, I'm really embarrassed that I have to give you a premium rate number to ring a charity shop to try and give away some stuff. I said, well, you better get it changed. It's about to be illegal. Anyway, that aside, my phone number, same as an 01, 02, 03 number. So if you have calls in your package or as part of your landline, it won't cost you anything. And the text, similarly, it's just your regular text fee. So no extra hidden premium rate charges, none of that nonsense. 0345 300 1858. I haven't made a charity. I've been generous. To phone a charity shop to give them stuff, they charge you? How insane is that? Text is 81333. Start your message, Mark. I'm going to start though tonight with a quick test. I'd like you to work out where I'm talking about. It is one of the most depressing landscapes in Europe. It could compete for the title of Britain's worst kept countryside. And farming in the area has left it resembling the aftermath of a nuclear winter. Sounds dreadful, I wouldn't want to go there. It conjures up some shocking bleak images. What if I told you those were descriptions of the Lake District? Guardian journalist George Monbiot doesn't think the spiritual home of the Romantic movement should be given World Heritage status. It's what they're after, given the same status as the Great Barrier Reef, the pyramids and the Taj Mahal. As you might imagine, people in Cumbria not too impressed with Mr. Monbiot's descriptions. Here's farmer Will Cotway.
To liken the Lake District to a nuclear wasteland and call it a depressing landscape, I just don't know which Lake District landscape is looking at. It's not the one that I live and work in. It's not the one that I believe 16 or 17 million people come to visit every year, spending about £1 billion. I'm at a loss to wonder which Lake District it is that he's looking at.
I can sense an argument brewing. In one corner we have George Monbiot, who thinks that you see more wildlife in Birmingham than the lakes. And in the other, Julia Aglenby, director of the National Centre for the Uplands.
I mean, as soon as you get out of the valleys and you start going up the fells, you enter a landscape which has lost almost everything. It's close-cropped turf, it's bare rock, it's almost nothing else. This was once have been a largely forested landscape with a natural tree line, with a great range of plant life which then provided cover for a great range of animal life. And now it's just been reduced until, some of the walks I've been on in the Lake District, all you can see, in a whole day's walking is a few crows and a few skylarks. It's an astonishingly impoverished landscape, and somehow we've all conspired to overlook that we love to believe that it's this amazing romantic place that Wordsworth wrote about so wonderfully, and we love to believe that there's some harmony between farming and wildlife, and I would love to believe that myself, but it's just not so.
But millions of people come to the Lake District every year as tourists. They are worth something like £1 billion to the economy. Are you saying, George Monbiot, that those millions of people are wrong?
No, I've been to the Lake District several times as a tourist myself, and I've been for other reasons as well. And, of course, people are desperate to get out of the cities and go to big wild places.
Well, they wouldn't come to the Lake District if it was one of the most depressing landscapes in Europe, would they?
Well, there's not many places to go. This is the problem. All our national parks, basically, or all the big ones, are sheep ranches. We don't have any wild nature in this country. I go to these places wanting to escape from it all, and I'd almost lose the will to live.
Let me bring you in now, Julia Aglenby, the director of the National Centre for the Uplands at Newton Rig. You go to the Lake District and, you lose the will to live with what you see. Your response to that comment by George Monbiot?
Well, it's clearly factually incorrect because the latest figures are that 14.8 million visitors went in 2012 and they go there because they gain huge spiritual refreshment. And I think perhaps, George, you've just perhaps missed the point. World Heritage status is because it's about the heritage. It's the fact that this is a landscape that man has evolved over time. Nobody's claiming it's natural. If you want to go to natural environments, then clearly England is not the place to find them. This is a managed landscape. Man's intervention's been over 4,000 years. Sheep have been there for 900 years. And if we look at common land, we're really comparing with World Heritage Site the fact that man has created a landscape. It's comparable to the rice terraces in the Philippines, which are a World Heritage Site. Nobody says that those should be returned to mountains and reforested. They are recognised and appreciated and valued for what they are, that close interaction of farmers farming the landscape, given the hard conditions that they're working under, particularly the communal management of the Lake District. Over 25% of the Lake District is common land. If we look at the rest of the country, it's only 3%. So you're entitled to your views, we're all entitled to our own views, but the uplands are about multiple perspectives, multiple truths, and the weight of public opinion is against you.
A little taster of the heated discussion on Mike Zeller's show between environmental journalist George Monbiot and Julia Aglenby, director of the National Centre for the Uplands. Interesting claims, weren't they, about the lakes? They should assume that most people love. One of the most depressing landscapes in Europe, competing with the chemical deserts of East Anglia. You'll see more wildlife in Birmingham, but you have to kind of admire his willingness to swim against the tide, to admit to thinking the opposite of everybody else in the country. If you have a similar dark, secret opinion, not to say Steve for very long, is do share and do tell. What do you hate that you're supposed to love? 0345 300 1858. Let me know. This is Daniel Pouter.
Mark Forrest.
BBC Radio Shropshire.
Where is the moment we need it the most? You kick up the leaves and the magic is lost. Tell me your blue skies fade to gray. Tell me your passion's gone away. And I don't need no carrying on. Stand in the light just to hear the road.
Powter and Bad Ed. It's fascinating when you swim against the tide like that. Something that everybody loves, or you assume everybody loves. Suddenly you realise there is somebody other than you who shares the opposite opinion. Like the Lake District, surely everybody loves the lakes? Well, apparently not. And it's not the only area that we presume that people love, that they actually hate. Sam Jordison is the co-editor of the Crap Towns books, which celebrate the most rubbish places in the UK. Hi, Sam.
Hi there.
So where are you then with George Monbiot then? Lake District is dreadful?
I'm quite a long way away from him. I actually grew up near the Lake District and I love it, and I disagree with most of what he said.
Okay, so you're happy with the number of sheep and no trees and all the rest of it?
I'm trying not to say I love sheep because it's just going to come across wrong, but yeah, I am happy with that.
Okay, tell me about some of the other towns you feature that most of us would presume are the jewels in our country's crown, but you would seek to differ.
Yeah, well, I certainly differ on a few, and we've had a lot of nominations for the next Crap Towns book that some people would think are swimming against the tide, although there is really strong feeling about them. So York, for instance, features...
York? Eboracum, that great Roman settlement.
Well,
Clifford's Tower, Jorvik, the Shambles.
Yeah, there is all of that, and I think York's kind of a victim of its own success, I suppose, because so many people go there, and it's also crowded in the summer that it becomes a bit oppressive. And also, you know, Yorkshire anyway, they've got this thing about being the greatest county on earth, and when you're the greatest city in the greatest county, I think it all becomes a bit much for some people.
You've got to be pushed off your pedestal a little, I suppose, is what you're saying. And the people who nominate places, are they generally from those places? Because that's sort of allowed, isn't it? You can kick your own town or your own city, but you wouldn't put up with somebody else doing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a bit like, you know, you can laugh at members of your own family, but other people can't do it. So most people do come from these places or have lived in them for quite a long time.
Any others that might surprise me? Because York has completely floored me.
Well, I can't give away too much because the list is actually embargoed at the moment, what's going to be in the book. But
how exciting. So we're kind of getting a sneak preview.
You're getting a bit of a sneak preview, yeah.
Well, you don't have to give me the positions or anything like that. I don't want to completely steal your thunder, but a clue of another place where most people would believe is universally loved, but you would seek to differ.
What can I tell you? Well, London is going to feature heavily.
Do you pick out London by the boroughs, or do you just say London as a whole?
It's actually, well, this was a whole logistical thing of putting the book together. So there's London as a whole now. It's going to be split up into the boroughs.
You're going to choose the really, really cool trendy parts, aren't you? So you're going to hate Hoxton, you're going to hate Dalston, you're going to... Where else might you hate?
I can't say too much about what's going to be in it. There is a bit of that, but I think there's a few unexpected things as well, and you'll see.
Well, let's flip it over then, because clearly your publishers are going to completely annihilate you if you give away too much. On the flip side, there are places that are stereotypically disliked or pilloried or made fun of. We just had the Alan Partridge film come out, so let's suggest Norwich.
Yeah, well, so I live in Norwich, and I really like it. And I know a lot of people, most of what they know about Norwich has been explained to them by Alan Partridge. In fact, before I moved here, most of what I knew was, about the pedestrianisation of Norwich city centre and all that kind of thing. And I think there's a lot of truth in what Alan Partridge says, actually. And I love Alan Partridge. I think it's hilarious. But even so, I really enjoy living here. It's a beautiful city, and the lifestyle's really nice. Norfolk is a great county to live in, so Norwich, contrary to stereotypes, is actually fantastic.
So you're being postmodern. You should be kicking Norwich, but you're choosing not to.
Okay.
Right, George.
Yeah, it's post-ironic.
I'm now totally confused, but Sam, can't wait to see the whole list when it comes out. For now, many thanks, Sam Jordison, is co-editor of Crap Towns. Clearly that new book is about to come out. Then you will see the whole list revealed. How fascinating. York is clearly going to be in the top 3. What do you hate that you're supposed to love? Drop me a text, 81333, start your message, Mark. Don't you dare say Simon and Garfunkel. Otherwise we shall never exchange words again.
You're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence.
then being on the list, Simon and Garfunkel and Cecilia. Can't believe, Mr. Monbiot. I would have thought those uplands would be ideal to absorb the CO2 that cities chuck out into the atmosphere, so they are worth saving. That's the beauty of this country. It has a mix of all sorts. Well, that's certainly true. What do you hate that you're supposed to love? Actually, I might turn this around in the next 5 minutes or so and ask you what you or where you love that you're supposed to hate. Because that works equally well. Certainly, I've chatted to Sam there about the various places that he's going to include in his book. Let's get some defence of what you might think is the indefensible. Geeks. In about 15 minutes you'll hear why I want you to finish this sentence. I'm a geek because ... As Nick points out, Bill Gates addressed high school children and said, be kind to geeks. Chances are you'll end up working for one. I'm reclaiming that word. Tonight, no longer would it be a word of shame. It would no longer be an insult. It would be something to be celebrated. If you have a passion, if you have a hobby about which you are an evangelist, drop me a text. I'm a geek because ... Here's the text number. It's 81333. Start your message. Mark.
Breakfast with Eric and Claire.
On BBC Radio Shropshire.
I met some people at Hadley on Saturday, and we talked about you. Claire has a weekend off. You can't do a weekend. You have to sit there.
We work to death.
I know.
Breakfast with Eric and Claire.
Weekday mornings from 6.
Let me see now, who set that line up? It certainly wasn't her.
You work her to death?
You?
She has the life of Riley in. Never mind work her to death.
It's breakfast on BBC Radio Shropshire.
Travel for you throughout the evening, 7:30. And here's the latest from Kaylee Poacher.
Thank you. Well, firstly, on the M25, anti-clockwise has queues before junction 7 for the M23. That's because of an accident. Anti-clockwise also crawling between junction 27 for the M11 and junction 24 Potters Bar, again because of an accident. In Surrey, the A3 is closed northbound, causing long delays from Burn Common to the Stoke Road interchange after an accident. In Bedfordshire, the A428 in Bromham is closed both ways because of an accident on the roundabout near Bedford Road. In Manchester, the M602 is blocked towards Manchester after an accident between Junction 2 Gilderbrook Road and Junction 1 the Eccles interchange. On the public transport, Eurotunnel has a waiting time of an hour and a half from Folkestone to passenger Eurotunnel services after earlier cancellations. Replacement buses are running on East Midlands trains between Nottingham and Newark Castle and also Lincoln Central because of freight train derailed last week. And a broken down trains causing hour-long delays on Arriva Wales, Cross Country, London Midlands and Virgin trains. That's to and from London Euston, Reading, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Shrewsbury, Stoke-on-Trent, Crewe and Chester. If you spot any problems, then call in on 0330 123 0184. I'm Kaylee Poacher. Next news, weather and travel in 30 minutes.